an honour to stand here today in support of a man who has supported our girls and boys, our armed forces, our culture, our values and the future of our country, and in doing so has been treated unfairly by our justice system. A justice system that can arrest, charge and jail a young man in the space of just a few hours for reporting on a Pakistani Muslim rape gang, while the majority of the rape gang are given bail. But let's go back to when they first started targeting Tommy. Tommy grew up in Luton and witnessed the hate that Islam was being allowed to show towards his community, the police, British soldiers and the UK. He began speaking out, and at the age of 21 he founded the EDL. It was an accumulation of different things which led Tommy to this point. The Islamification of his hometown, the protesting against the soldiers' homecoming, the gang rape of girls in Luton, the two-tier system where Muslims are allowed to protest, calling for the death of British soldiers, and if non-Muslims protest, then we are labelled as racist and far right. He began speaking out because it was the right thing to do, not because he was full of hate or because he's a racist. There was nothing sinister about this, despite what the mainstream media would have you believe. He was bringing a truth out into the light for all to see. If Nazis were setting up stalls in towns and cities all across the UK calling for the death of Muslims, then the police would arrest them. Our government is scared of Tommy. He exposes the lies being promoted, an inconvenient truth for them. No matter how much they vilify and smear him, his following just keeps on growing. He was talking about the rape gangs in Luton before it was being reported in any mainstream media. Jeremy Paxman for the BBC Newsnight interviewed him in 2011. Paxman was disgusted at Tommy for saying that our girls are being gang raped by Muslim men. Watch the interview if you haven't already. The EDL were banned by the Home Office from marching through the town of Wellington. They marched anyway, and Kevin Carroll gave a speech about Muslim rape gangs in Telford. This was in 2012. The media reported about Telford in March of this year. 7 years later, how long would they have concealed this if Tommy had not spoken out? He's had numerous Osman warnings. His wife has had to cope without her husband whenever he is arrested and jailed. His children without their father, and his mother without her son. Why? Because he talks about what is hidden in plain sight. Because he talks about Islam and the evil that it brings into towns and cities across the UK. Don't be mistaken that he is being targeted for any other reason than this. Tommy will forever be known as the leader and founder of the EDL, yet Majid Nawaz is never referred to as an ex-member of a terrorist organisation. One that is banned in many Muslim countries. Anjem Choudhury is never referred to as a terrorist, even though he openly supports ISIS and calls for the death of British soldiers and believes our police force should burn in hell, and still the police protect him. Released after serving only half of a 5.5-year prison sentence, it will cost £2 million to monitor him, as he is still a danger to the British public. Choudhury will not be given the middle finger to the police and the justice system, but the ISIS salute. Our police have already been fooled into giving this salute by MEND. Choudhury believes in Sharia law and will have no intentions of obeying any of the bail conditions. He has told the authorities he will radicalise more Muslim men, young men like the ones who murdered Lee Rigby. Yet here we are today, standing outside the Old Bailey, waiting to hear if Tommy will be sentenced for speaking a truth we, the police, the government, both local and national, know is happening. One man is released and he has no fear about telling us that he wants Britain to be ruled by Sharia, and one man is in court for warning us about the Islamification of Great Britain. Crazy? It's a good job that the world is watching at the way Tommy is being treated. Otherwise, he would be sentenced in the hope of silencing him for good. We had a counter-protest here today, Stand Up to Racism. Do they ever go and protest outside court against the rape gangs, or go to the stalls where women in niqabs and men with beards and pyjamas call for the death of British soldiers? Did they protest against Lee Rigby's murder? Both the killers were radicalised by Anjem Choudhury. Will they protest against Anjem Choudhury, or are his actions tolerated? Do we have to shut up for the good of diversity, as the Labour MP for Bradford, Naz Shah, suggests? She was referring to the gang rape of 1,400 children in Rotherham. But this is not a recent thing. This is upside-down racism. What about Chris Donald? Kidnapped, tortured and murdered by a gang of Pakistani men in Glasgow in 2004. Or the Muslim attack on white girls in 2013 in Ashton-under-Lyne, Manchester. Or in 2017, the Muslim gang attacking anyone who is not Muslim in Liverpool. Is that sort of racism allowed? Looking round, I see some people don't allow it. We, the good people of this country, with its proud history of free speech, tolerance and acceptance, the home of the mother of all parliaments, of democracy and the Magna Carta, the country that fought 2 world wars to preserve freedom, to speak and act as an individual wishes without causing undue harm to another. Millions died for this ideal. We do not and will not accept it. One man, just one man, by simply telling a truth, has scared those in power